Hello and welcome from New York City. This is Michael Nugent, who will be your instructor for strategic management in the summer. Now, this is a video to discuss the preliminary assignment that we are going to be working on and you're going to be completing before the start of the class at the end of June. Now, it's important that you complete the preliminary assignment because many elements of the preliminary assignment will be discussed in the course, and many of the learning goals from the preliminary assignment will be reflected in the final exam. So I feel it's very important for students to complete the preliminary assignment, and we're going to talk about the results the first class, and we're going to talk about the simulation throughout the course because it does give everybody an equal opportunity to experience the decisions you need to make to strategically run a large company. So this is something that when I bring up examples in the class, I can refer back to this simulation so we can all be on the common ground of understanding of what I'm talking about. Now, what this simulation is going to do, you have been hired as the president of strategy for an automotive company, and you're going to be running this automotive company for 6 years, or what we call 6 rounds, and you're going to be entering your results into the spreadsheet for strategic analysis. So if we go through the spreadsheet, the first page is going to talk about strategy and help you to analyze your sales. The second worksheet will be the sales analysis, and then the third worksheet will be the marketing analysis, fourth worksheet will be the production analysis. Then we're going to go through the balanced scorecard or overview points and industry averages for the simulation. And I'm going to put the video, which you're watching now, right here. You're going to register at zoomsim.net, and you're going to use I don't think you need the class code, but if it does ask for a class code anywhere, it would be Denmark. And I would like you to complete the 6 rounds of practice and enter the data into the spreadsheet for analysis. Okay, so let's get started. Let me show you how to register and log into the simulation, how the simulation works, and then how to enter the data from the simulation into the spreadsheet. Now, keep in mind that the preliminary assignment, you should complete the preliminary assignment before the course starts. And I would consider you a serious student if you took this assignment seriously and completed it to the full extent of the assignment. Okay, so let's move on to the simulations. Here's the simulations at zoomsim.net, and you want to click on register and then click on student. So the first step is register, so you put in your first name, last name, email address, username, and password. Click I'm not a robot, and then register. Okay, so then the next step is to click on, there are no activation codes. That is something that the school has to buy in advance, so there are no activation codes, so you have to click on buy now, and then let me just move this up a bit, and then you'll see this checkout button. You'll click this checkout button and you'll enter in the appropriate credit card information, and then that will bring you back to the website, and I'll show you what happens after that. So after you pay for the simulation and you log back in, now you're going to see play solo practice, play team competition. So we are playing solo practice, so you're competing against computer players because since the class has not started yet, we cannot form teams or work in teams in any way because no one's met anybody yet. So we're going to be working in the individual solo practice. You click on solo practice, and then you start out in year 1, and they're going to ask you in the sales page to design a vehicle, and they give you customer expectation ranges of what your customers are expecting for economy class vehicle. So I'm going to put in some information, and then I'm going to see over here is the importance factor. So some things are more important to customers than other things. So I might pull up increase the value of things that are important to my customers, and then decrease the value for things that are not so important to my customers. Okay. Now the labor costs, material costs will calculate. There's no operational reduction costs because I haven't purchased any operational reduction equipment. I'm going to set a sales price, and that's my profit margin, and I'm going to set a forecast. Now the forecast, you may be wondering, well, where do I go with this forecast? How many cars do I think I could sell? Well, you should click on the student manual, and down here in the student manual, if you go under forecasting sales, it talks about how to forecast sales, the growth of the industry, and then gives you a chart here. So year one, if all cars are equal and everybody makes the same decisions, meaning that every car is exactly identical, this is what your share of the market would be for year one, 2188, 26, 18, and 1688. Okay, so that gives me a pretty good idea of, I'm going to put in 2200, working off the guidelines from the forecasting of the student manual. And I'm going to repeat this for sedan class car. You notice you can go above or below the customer expectations as you see fit. But there are, if you go too far or too below, I think their warnings will say your car will not operate with, a fuel economy of 0. And so I put a fuel economy of 0, I'll get a warning, an error. So, you have to be, it has to be a certain minimum for it to function. All right, and then what was the sales forecast? 2600. So I'll try 2500, go a little bit below. And then I'll do the truck. And truck was at 18. My truck's a little expensive, so maybe I'll do 17. And then luxury. And let's see what is for luxury for year one. Okay, so I'm going to do 1700. All right. I'm going to submit my sales data and then move on to the advertising. So again, I'm given a range of the advertising for each vehicle. And over here, if I keep reading the student user guide, it'll give me the effectiveness of different media for the advertising. And it looks like television and newspapers is the most effective. So I have to disperse my money. And it explains how the industry budget expectations change. So basically, as the industry grows and more people are advertising, the expectations are going to probably move these numbers higher. So let's stick with 500,000 for newspaper, 500,000 for television. Maybe I'll put some money in the other categories. Okay. So as I move through, now these target demographics, I'm told, are for the role-playing aspect of the game, trying to figure out what age and what income level you want to sell your car to. But I'm told that they have no actual effect on the calculation of the demand, so you can kind of ignore target age, target income. It will not affect overall change in the competitive demand for the class. So I don't think we have to worry about that. So I'll fill in some numbers here. Oh, that's too high. All right. And then again for truck. And again, I'm not really, I'm just throwing some numbers in here, so don't go by what I do here. I just want to show you that, you have to populate the advertising area. So when you're done with the advertising, marketing, you click on that, and we move into production. So now in production, we're going to, I'm going to have to buy some production plants. I need to make 2,100 but my capacity is only 2,000. So I'm going to have to buy an additional plant to increase my capacity here. And this is the operational cost reductions. So this is going to, when I buy these, and if you read this description down here, it will tell me that I'm going to save $300 in the make of the vehicle next year based on my investments this year. All right. So I'm forecasting 2,500. I only have the capacity to make 1,000, so I'm going to have to buy 2 plants. So I have enough capacity. Now I have a capacity of 3,000 to make the 2,400 cars because there's 100 cars already built. I'll select some operational investments. Now the truck, I only need to buy 1 additional plant because I only need to make 1,600. So my capacity is 2,000. I bought 1 plant, and I don't want to buy more plants than I need because that's just a waste of money to buy a production plant if I don't need it. All right, and then lastly, luxury. I'm going to need 1 production plant for luxury. And we'll buy some operational investments for luxury. Okay, now I'm done with the production and I move into finance. So let's see, I have a deficit of 25 million. So if I try to complete, I get a warning, the deficit can't exceed 25 million. Okay, so I can't move forward until I ask for some additional funds. So I'm gonna ask for some additional long-term debt. And you see my interest rate changes as I ask for additional money. The interest rate will change based on the market, I guess. And I can even ask for I could ask for some money in stock. Oh, and there's also a limit, I guess, there's a limit to how much you can borrow for each of these categories. So I borrowed 15 million, and now my deficit is less than the 25 million, so I can complete the round. So once I've completed the round, then I get an overview of my points. So I made 796 points for the round in these financial metrics. Now, in the class, we'll be discussing all of these financial ratios and operational metrics as part of the course. So this is why it's good to do the preliminary assignment, because you start to get a feel for these management and financial metrics of how a company is measured. So when we talk about measuring performance and things like that in the course, you'll have a better idea of how that works based on the simulation. We have an assessment which goes over how I did and provides me advice on what I can do to make things better. So it gives me a score and a performance rating. So that's good to kind of understand how I did. There's a whole series of charts here. The industry is backed up. So this is my practice company, and I'm competing against 2 computer players. So the industry is a total of three players, including myself. My financials are backed up, and then I go into year 2. So in year 2, I get the year 1 decisions laid out, and now I have to change and update my vehicles for year 2, redo my models, and the customer expectations have increased. The prices have increased that I can sell the car for, so I'm going to have to redo my sales, my marketing, and I get my previous year's decision in production and finance again. So let's look at how I could translate the data I have into the spreadsheet. So let's go to the spreadsheet, and the first tab on the spreadsheet, let me move this up a bit so you can see the tabs. Okay. And it's trying to right size it. Okay. So the first tab is strategy. And this tab talks about different strategies companies can use, and just different ideas in marketing and strategy that we're going to be discussing in the class. This is where you can enter in your name. There is no team name. So I should just say your name here. And let's go over. Here is a text box. So in this text box, based on the Zoom simulation, please describe your strategy, ensure your company meets its goals, and maximizes shareholders' wealth. So here, for each year, you should just put a sentence or two. What your basic strategy is how you completed the simulation. So nothing too complex, just a sentence or two so I understand what was your thinking and what strategy approaches were you using, And this is why you can kind of read over this section if you don't know anything about strategy before you decide on a strategy moving forward. So we move into the sales analysis, and here we have that same chart from the student user guide I entered in here. The growth rates, this is how fast each of the automotives are growing. And then you need to enter in your sales data for each year. So I see here that there's a comment. Let me just bring this a little closer. Enter in your actual sales for Zoom simulation. See the industry page for this information. Okay, so let's go back to the simulation. I'm going to go to the industry page, and for my company, here are, let's see, sales price, sales units. Is that what I was looking for in the spreadsheet? Yes, actual sales units. So we have the sales units here, 21, 23, 25, 17, and 17. So let me enter that in. 21, 23, 2500, 1700, and 1700. Okay. So when I complete year 2, I can enter in year 2. So that's all I need to enter in here right now is the values for year 1. And as I move forward, I can enter in more years of information. Okay, so let's move on. And this tells me my variance. So this is what I could have sold, and this is what I sold different from the average of, if everybody had an equal share in the market, just gives me a variance over what I sold compared to the market average. So moving into the marketing analysis, you can find this data on the marketing page. Okay, so let's go to the marketing page, and let me move this over a little bit. Go to marketing. All right, so okay, so the first information for round 1 is total advertising cost. So if I go into total advertising cost, so we're advertising, looks like we're doing economy class vehicle. Okay, so this is the economy class vehicle, and this is the total. So I'm going to actually just copy it from the simulation, see if I could paste it right in there. Okay, good. And then the sales units, this is coming from the previous page. But that is units. That should not have a dollar sign. So I'm going to go ahead and just change that to number. Okay. And then the sales price per car. And wherever you see these little red triangles, you're going to get a note. So find this on the sales or industry page for Zoom. Okay. So, and then sales units, total inventory costs. Okay, so that's a formula. Okay, so let me go to the data on the sales or industry page to get the sales price per car. So going back to the sales price page here for year 1 is the sales price $19.99. Okay, so the direct cost per vehicle is also on the sales page, and that's $10,810. And then the advertising cost per vehicle. So this is a formula, and it looks, this looks like it's already been set. C4 divided by C6, and that's what it's saying here. Units divided by total advertising costs. No, sales units divided by total advertising costs. Total advertising costs, C4 divided by sales units. So this comment is actually wrong. So I'm going to edit this comment. So it's total advertising costs divided by sales units, because that makes more sense. Okay. So this is the advertising cost. I'm advertising $500 per car. Okay. And then the profit per car less advertising cost. So this is sales price minus direct costs minus advertising costs per car. So we have C7 sales price minus C8 direct costs minus C9. That appears to be correct. And then the total market potential is 28%. So where does this market potential come from? I think that's from the industry page. So if we go to the industry page, we see here, let me move this over. So the industry page, we do have our sales units, we have our sales price. This is our sales price. We have our total direct costs. This is a calculation. This is a calculation. Market potential is down here. Market potential percent, 32.35. Okay, so that would be round one for the economy class. Now there's the sedan here, and as you can see, I think the industry page, this industry tab, is probably the best, because when you do more rounds, you'll have a little spinner here where you could go to see round 2, round 3, round 4 if you do other rounds, and then I can just get all the information I need here for economy, truck, sedan, luxury. So as I'm filling this out, I can just really just stay on that, because over here is going to be truck and luxury, and I can just get everything from the industry page. And this just gives us a marketing analysis to see what we're spending on advertising, how much, what's the advertising cost per car, what's the profit per car, and then, so this is a good little analysis to see as we go through the different rounds to see how this is changing, if we're improving upon this. And then there's a text box here to enter in some information about what we've done in our marketing strategy. Okay. So I think I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste special, and I'm just going to paste the comment. So you know that this comes from the sales or industry page as well. Okay, so that would be the marketing page. Let's move on to production analysis. So in production analysis, I have, you can find this on the production page, the Zoom simulation. This data can be found on the production page. Okay, so again, 2 production pages here where it's saying, so let's move to, on the simulation, move from marketing to production. And we're just going to kind of slide this over here. And this is saying production page, sales units, total. So sales units, this is populating from the other page, so we don't have to enter anything in there. So total unit capacity, we have 3,000, so that's the same. And then capacity utilization, this is a formula. So I had sales units of 2123 for economy for round 1, and I'm using 71% of my factory. So my factory has 3,000 capability, and I'm only using 71% of that. So then let's do the operational investments. So if I scroll down here are my operational investments. So each operational investment is $2 million. So here I have, let me enter in 2 million here, and the 8 million is the total. So you'll see here 8 million is the total for round 1. Okay. Now moving into, okay, so it looks like this is populating, pre-populating. If you see up here, labor cost per vehicle, sales or industry page. So these two are pre-populating. This one I have to enter. So if I go over here, I'm going to go back to industry page, and I'm going to see the labor cost per car is 2,900, and the material cost per car, 2,910 and 7,900. 2,910. $7,900. Cost reductions are 0. Okay, so then this is a formula. This is from the marketing page, and this is a formula. So this is kind of backed up on where this information is coming from. So this is good. These little red triangles help to show me where the information is coming from. Okay, so that would be round 1 for the economy class. And then you'd have to do the same thing for sedan, truck, and luxury. Okay. And then this is some more reflective observations. So just a sentence or two of, and this can be filled out, I guess, at the end. So let's move over to overview points. So here, it's saying there's a comment here saying, let me just slide this over. Look on the financial page of the Zoom simulation for this data. You only have to fill in the white cells. So there's formulas. I'm going to try and make where you have to do inputs to be white cells, and where there are formulas, I'll try to lock them down with another color so you know what you have to enter. So let's go to year 0 is identical for everyone. So year 1 is what we have to enter. So let's go. It said to go to the finance page. So here we are on the finance page, and then we have last year's information, and then we need to enter in, I'm going to move this over. So I'm going to enter in my sales, and I'm just going to copy and paste my sales. Cost of goods sold, I'm going to go in over here and copy that. Paste that in. So then this as a formula, it calculates. So now advertising costs. If I go back here, advertising costs. So I'm just pulling information from the website, and then depreciation expense, 6,800. And those are going to calculate. So then interest expense. So then let's go down to assets, 2,500, accounts receivable, that's the same number. This is inventory. I have inventory in there. It says my current assets, fixed assets, copy in my fixed assets, and then my accumulated depreciation. Control copy, control paste, and these are going to calculate. And then the short-term debt is 10, is the same. Total liabilities, long-term debt is different, is 12. So this is filled in already just to show you like what the numbers should look like, but I have to update it because my data for my round is different than the example in the spreadsheet. So I'll put in my common stock equity, and then my retained earnings. Okay, and this is cash surplus deficit, and then investment in research and development. So cash surplus or deficit, if I come down here, this is the cash surplus. I have a deficit. So let me copy that and put that into cash surplus or deficit. And this says, and then I have here the investments in research and development. So to calculate my investments in research and development, I have a note. This can be found, there's a little tab here. This can be found on the Excel tab below called Research Development Capital Budget. See the yellow boxes at the top page. Okay, so that needs to be updated. So let's just see research and development. I think we can get that from in the production page. This would be the total operational investments, which is would be the research and development investments. So this would have to come from these boxes. So I'll update that in the spreadsheet so that will automatically update here in the simulation in the spreadsheet. So you won't have to input that. I'll just set that to update from the other from the other pages. Okay, so that's year one. Then when you complete year two, you could fill in year two in that same format. And then we go to the industry averages. So at the very end of the simulation, you're gonna can fill in. So this doesn't have to be done. It says here, end of simulation. So at the end of the simulation, and there's a note here, you can get this data on the industry page, use the data from round 6. So in round 6, let's just go up to the industry page. So then you have, in the industry, you have all the competitors. So it looks like this information here from sales dollars to the forecast. So it looks like at the bottom, we're inputting the information for each of the teams in here. Yeah. And then that is going to be create an industry average. And then a couple questions about why that's important to have an industry average. And then lastly, on the charts page, these will auto-populate, saying here, this comment is saying that these will auto-populate. So you don't have to enter anything here, they'll auto-populate. But I'm asking you to make a series of basic charts. If I can get in here, yep. I'm asking you to make a series of basic charts based on the data from this page. So it's pretty simple. You would just highlight, and then you could go to charts. So if I'm asking for you to do a pie chart, you click on pie chart, and a pie chart developed. If I'm asking you to do a line chart, you click on a line chart. If I'm asking you to do a column chart, you click on a column chart. So it's pretty simple. This is just, again, just to give you some examples of how you could use the Excel to create some charts to make your data come to life. Okay, so those are the 6 tabs in the spreadsheet that you're going to work with to complete this simulation. So again, let's just recap really quickly here. What you're going to do, this is a preliminary assignment that's important for the completion of the course. It's important for the learning goals of the course, and the simulation will be brought up and utilized in class lectures and examples, and gives us all a base footing of running the same company and getting the same ideas that we can apply to this company. And you're going to do, once you sign up to the Zoom simulation, you're going to run 6 rounds. We did round 1 together. I showed you how to do round 1 from beginning to end. You're going to start in sales, enter in your sales information, move the marketing, production, finance, complete the round, move into year 2, and complete all the way to year 6. Now, I would suggest that as you complete a year, you fill in a year's worth of information on a spreadsheet, and then move to complete the next year, so year 3, then fill in year 3, complete year 4 in the simulation, fill in year 4 in the spreadsheet. So go back and forth like that would be the easiest, and then you'll start seeing trends and information about how this is going to calculate. And then when we get together in the first class of the session, we will talk about the simulation, talk about the benefits, the drawbacks, how the experience was, and then I'll be using this preliminary assignment as a reference point for a majority of the class. And you'll see a lot of the learning goals that we're going to learn in strategy are going to be reinforced with this assignment, as well as what you'll see on the final exam. So thank you for listening to this, about 35-minute or so video demonstration of how to complete this preliminary assignment. And I appreciate the time you're going to take to devote to completing this assignment. And I think you'll find it I'm sure you'll find it very beneficial to the understanding of strategy and the overall understanding of how businesses work and how companies maximize their profits. Thank you for your time and take care.